So if someone is saying something out of hate or anger or frustration or just, with downright poor intentions, that's not on you. That's not on you. Don't take it personally. Know and be secure in yourself, in who you are, so that the thoughts, words, and ideas of others make you curious, but don't poison you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Authentic Conversations.
Good morning. Good
Hi.
afternoon. Good evening. Good
Yes,
day.
wherever you are in this world, this beautiful world, and however you're listening to us, podcast or YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Please share the love, give us a thumbs up, or leave us a comment if there's any subject that you would like to hear us discuss about, or what did you think of our episodes? So, Susan, we are working on the 4 agreements.
The 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. It is like a staple in my life. And I know that it was a while back when we did the first agreement, but it's like everything else. You have to digest it. You have to spend a little bit of time, like just in it to understand it. It's simply complicated. And the complicated part is that we overthink it. Right?
Mhm.
It's so simplistic. I mean, be impeccable with your word, right? So we have words, we say what we mean what we say, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are discussing don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. And I want to start right off with Don Miguel's words. So here's what he says. He says, you walk past someone on the street and they say, "Hey, you stupid," without even knowing you. So you take it personally. And then perhaps you start to believe that you are stupid. Maybe you think, oh, he knows something or sees something that I don't know. But really, what happens is you take it personally because you agree with what was said. You take it personally because you feel not powerful enough to stand up against the thoughts and ideas and opinions of others, right? So we give away our power. So you take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you and you're trapped in that personal hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. We learn to take everything personally during education or, in our families. We think we're responsible for everything. It's always me. It's always my fault. I'm always the one who screws it up. I'm always the one who, doesn't get it right. Nothing people do is because of you. It's because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind, and they are completely different worlds from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make an assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Even when it seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions they give are according to the agreements they have in their own mind. Their point of view comes from their programming. Don't take it personally. I mean, we really do have to understand that the world is a created concept. So we share our world with some of the people who share our world, similar thoughts,
Mhm.
ideas, and beliefs, but there is no way we have any idea about anyone else. So if someone is saying something out of hate or anger or frustration or just, with downright poor intentions, that's not on you. That's not on you. Don't take it personally. Know and be secure in yourself, in who you are, so that the thoughts, words, and ideas of others make you curious, but don't poison you.
So let's break it down into little bite sizes. Of course, this has a lot to do with the first agreement,
Yes. Yes.
right? Be impeccable with your words.
Speak your truth. If you can speak your truth and know that your truth can't be wrong because it's your truth, right?
Mhm.
Then how others respond to your truth is not to be taken personally. we talk about seeds planted all the time, Amaryllis, right?
Mhm. Right.
So it's all seeds planted. So my truth is seeds planted in your truth, and your truth is seeds planted in my truth, right? I don't
Mhm.
have to live in your truth, and you don't have to live in my truth. I don't have to live in your world, and you don't have to live in my world. But be respectful or notice what others are saying, but then don't change or adjust who you are unless you choose to. So if someone's thoughts, beliefs, or ideas make sense to me, then I'm curious and I want to know more. And that might actually alter the path of my beliefs.
Right. Because then so this is also what Don Miguel Ruiz is talking about, the poison. Let's talk a little bit about that, where the poison is this, like it's mostly also Dr.
Wayne Dyer.
Dyer says,
Mhm.
um, it's not about, you don't die from the bite of the snake, right? But
Yes.
from the poison of the snake, right? The belief that the snake bit you and then there's poison going into you. Now you all of a sudden believe that this is going to happen. And that's what he's also talking about when he mentions a lot in this book. He talks about we also believe in our heaven on earth and this is our lesson. We decided to be on this earth. And he mentions that you create your own hell because you start believing in other people's values and they become your world. And now you create this world where, you believe everything. If either you have to feel like somebody says something nice to you, and he says, it doesn't matter to me if you say something nice to me. If you say, Don Miguel, you're so great, or you're being evil today. He's like, it's not up to me. What does he mean also about the poison, Susan? What's your interpretation of that?
So it's so funny because when I read it, like you could feel like, so poison would be representative of those negatives, right?
Mhm.
So poison is represented by anger can be poison, jealousy can be poison, fear can be poison. Anything that leads you away from your authentic self can be viewed as poison. And so when you are taking in the externals and believing in others or believing others over yourself, you're really giving away your power, which is drinking the poison.
Oh, and I just get this vision right now what you're saying about not this, which back to don't take it personal, right? So when you're taking it in, right? So this is the external world. When your values are being shifted and you don't feel good, if that whatever that person says to you triggers you, is what you have to go back inside of you and say, why does this trigger me?
Because
That's
it's your trigger, right?
It's your trigger. So if it makes me feel good that people say good things to me and I need to hear it all the time, say it to yourself. Write it all the time. Say it to yourself until you believe it, because you obviously need confirmation. So it's just be so careful, because as you said, we can change as we go and as we grow. And we hear a thought, I read this book and I remember not understanding it at the beginning and putting it away, not knowing what a beautiful gift this was. It was a Christmas gift from a good friend of mine, and then picking it up again because I love books, and I'm like, why haven't you and I like connected, right? And then I remember skipping through and just going, okay, well, let me just go to the agreements. What is this is all about?
Right.
And then the that situation changed me right there and then. I made it to where it was bite sized, where I could digest what he was trying to teach me and understand it, and then read it again, because then I'm like, what is he talking about? My God, this is like profound. This is just
Yes, it's simply profound is what it is. And so we talk about, yeah, and you had a very good point, internal affirmations versus external affirmations. So internal affirmations versus external affirmations. If you can come to the point where your inner dialogue with yourself can combat anything, good, bad, neutral, that anyone else says, and you're still growing. Okay, because that's a really important part, and you're still growing, right? So, and I guess combat, I mean, I almost want to take that little statement back, right? So it's not combat, it's shoring yourself up inside so that you can weather any storm outside, right? So it's having your raincoat ready, it's having your snow boots ready, it's having like what, you know, whatever it is that you're walking into, it's trusting yourself enough to know that you are of right intention. You know, you are doing something to the best of your ability. It may not be to the best of your capability, but in that moment, you're doing something to the best of your ability. And that's how we learn, right? So feedback,
Mhm.
feedback comes in many forms.
Mhm.
People love to call it criticism, and they love to get defensive, because the ego says we have to defend our inner child, whatever. So we have to see feedback as not emotionally attached. Neutral in the emotion zone is feedback. So if something's triggering me, and we talked about triggers a moment ago, if something's triggering me, right? I want to use that as feedback to see what it is that is actually being triggered. Bite-sized pieces, Amaryllis.
Nice pieces. You know, I remember talking about where we are right now in this year, the holidays are coming by. And the people that we love the most, which is our family, sometimes can hurt us the most. And when we get ourselves ready to go to these gatherings amongst people that we sometimes feel they're not supporting us or are have the feedback that they know you better, right? Because they're older and they're wiser and they want to say something about you, and or it feels like a judgment. This is when, like you're saying, my best friend and I have this saying called "put on your duck suit on."
Yeah.
When we're going to work or we're going to about to battle the world, and the duck suit is you just let everything slide off.
Yeah.
And your raincoat, and you know what, people say things and you go and you move on. Oh, okay. And then there might be something that all of a sudden triggers you through the night and you're thinking about it. Journal. Go
Yeah.
back into that. Figure
Notice.
out, like, notice it and go, why is this bothering me? I had a long time with my hair. I'm the only one that has big hair, and they call pajon, and it was not a good word for me.
Right.
It's afro. It, for me, it meant like disorganized, big hair. I'm the only one. A pajon also could be like wild and not tamed, right? Not straight. And my family would say that all the time, and they will only say to me that I was beautiful when I had straight hair. And I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Mm.
Because whenever I would straighten my hair and I would go to their house, I would get that.
That's the programming Don Miguel talks about.
Right.
That's the programming.
And I
It's like,
had to notice it, and I had to work on it, where I said, what we talk about again, affirmations and loving ourselves. Louise Hayes, her book came into my world. You can heal yourself. And she talks so much about you have to love yourself. And
there's first things first.
Yeah, and I had to go back to that. I had to just say, when I go visit them, I know I'm not going to get the feedback that I want,
But I'm okay with no
but
feedback
I'm okay with no feedback.
or negative feedback because I have my duck suit on.
Yeah.
I often say, like, shower in Rain-X. Imagine yourself showering in Rain-X, because Rain-X is just fabulous. Everything beads up and just kind of like, rolls away.
And we're so good at others, when we are in different environments. Like, I'm an actor. So when the director is giving me feedback, I'm not taking it personal. I'm listening. I have different listening ears, right? It's very important. This is the director. This is their vision. This is the role that I'm playing. And they're giving me feedback to say, hey, you came in this way, or you spoke this way, or you didn't say this line this way. And I'm taking it. I'm not having a meltdown. It's my job. I write down the notes. It's the same thing we're saying, guys, when it comes to someone giving you feedback to something that's personal. When they're saying, don't take it personal. And I used to hate when people say that to me because I get so emotionally wrapped up when somebody gives me feedback personally.
So let's
Not,
draw, so let's draw
yeah.
a picture here, right? So it is the emotional, connection more often than not that even keeps the message from coming through. Because as soon as, you're having a dialogue with someone and they're offering you feedback, if you take it personal, then the emotion or of disappointment or frustration or anger, whatever it is, starts to take over, and that becomes interference. And then we never get the idea of what it is that they're actually offering.
Yeah.
And it is only feedback. Feedback is another person's opinion, right? There's thousands of ways to get things done. There's thousands of ways. 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 1 is 4, 4 + 0 is 4, 0 + 4 is 4, right? So there's a multitude of ways to get places. Feedback just helps us fine tune the inside, not taking it personally, but noticing when we're ouched by it allows us to fine tune the inside. How do we heal what's on the inside if we don't know what it is? So the poke, the prod, whatever it is that is the trigger, gives us insight in order to figure out what is happening inside, so we can help ourselves by not taking it personally and recognizing what is the underlying cause, message, circumstance.
Yes.
It's kind of clearing the interference.
So I want Susan, can you do me a favor since I left my book? The last page of this segment when he's talking about, I think it's almost the last paragraph, kind of wraps up a little bit. I want to hear.
As you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others say or do. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. You are never responsible for the actions of others. You are only responsible for you. When you truly understand this and refuse to take things personally, you can hardly be hurt by the careless comments or actions of others. If you keep this agreement, you can travel around the world with your heart completely open and no one can hurt you. You can say, I love you without the fear of being ridiculed or rejected. You can ask for what you need. You can say yes. You can say no, whatever you choose without guilt or self-judgment. You can choose to follow your heart always. Then you can be in the middle of hell and still experience inner peace and happiness. You can stay in your state of bliss and hell will not affect you at all. You will only need to trust yourself to make the responsible choices. You are never responsible for the actions of others, only responsible for you. When you truly understand this and refuse to take things personally, you can hardly be hurt by careless comments or actions of others.
It's so simple. It's such a beautiful gift. I mean, this paragraph I've read over and over because saying no for me is a big one. And I always forget that no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
And that I'm not hurting others by saying no because I'm taking care of myself.
Boundaries.
And boundaries. And that's what he puts it. I read this over and over. I almost memorized it because I'm like, how? How is this so simple?
Right. Right. And that's what I said, in the beginning. It's we overcomplicate it. We get caught up in it.
But we also need to be a part of it because we can also be on, as well as we're on the receiving side, guys. Back to part 1 that he talks about the first law. We also can be on the other side with what we say to others.
Impeccable with your word.
So it's back to simplicity of kindergarten. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing.
That's right. That's right. And then part 2 is, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything, but then notice Why is it that you have something not nice to say? Because that's a
Mm.
reflection of the inner you.
Because
That's a
your
reflection.
surroundings become mirrors of you.
Yes.
So that person that bothers you so much, why? What is it
Because there's
about them?
something in you. It's not
There's
them.
something in you. And that's a whole other story there. You have to write about that. You have to journal on it. You have to be aware. Awareness is key. And this is what we talk in authentic conversations. So, and then if you have something negative to say or start, because it's going to become an argument and it's not going to end anywhere. And that's where the poison goes in, because with words, stick and stones may break my bones, but words, right?
Yeah.
Back to another phrase. Can't take them back, guys. Sometimes people are in a way somewhere in the world that they're in their world, because again, we're the directors of our universe and you guys are all characters of it. And who we let in and who we let, our 5 people that we let in, we just talked about it last week. It all comes back again to the same thing. Who do you let in and surround you will help you realize what your values are, who you are. And sometimes we have to remove ourselves from those that are not going to give you the value and uplift you. And then you'll find others that are going to give you that. So we give everyone, thank you so much, Susan, for joining us again today. I really appreciate this time. I don't take it for granted. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, if you have any comments or any feedback, please leave it in the comments below. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and podcasts. We appreciate your support. And we do this, again, because we want to be authentic with ourselves. We want to put out a little bit of light in this universe that has sometimes so much darkness, where people always have something negative to say. We want to remind you that you have the power. You have the power to stand strong in your values, what you believe, and love yourself first.
That's right.
Then you
Don't
can
take it
love
personally.
others.
Don't take it personally. Oh, thank you, Amarellis.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.